Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to DoMagettiIELTS.com IELTS Speaking Part 3 videos. This is the first in a series of videos focusing on Part 3 of the speaking exam. Today's topic is one of the recent questions. Describe a person who speaks a foreign language well. Before we begin in part 3, we have to make sure that we have a decent amount of vocabulary to be able to talk at length about the topic. Now, you don't need to have expert vocabulary, just the normal vocabulary that's used when talking about languages. So I've put some pretty standard things here. Some you may not know, most you should know. Bilingual, 2 languages, multilingual or polylingual, more than 2 languages or many languages you can speak, by the way. An accent, pronunciation, native sounding, slang, adopting a language, learning a language, forced to learn a language, mother tongue, and some collocations here. Comes in handy and wins over locals. So these are some things that I've put. There are many more, of course, but you're only speaking for maybe 30 to 45 seconds at most, so you don't need large amounts of vocabulary. Okay, sorry. So check this out, stop the video, look at the list, look at the definitions, make sure you understand them before you use them. Okay, answering the question is similar to our previous videos. If you've watched our previous videos, you will know that we give reasons for the answer, and then any relevant information that can go with the answer, we give there. So they're all color-coded. So here are the questions for this, but before we do that, I'm just going to go through this section here. When answering in part 3, you have to lock on to the keywords, which will be the basis for your answer. Providing a long and accurate answer is of no value if you're answering the wrong question. Here's an example. This is taken from a video on YouTube. How important is exercise as you get older? Exercise is important as you age. Now, the person answering this question has actually paraphrased, as you get older, as you age. That's fine. But what they haven't done is they haven't answered the question, because they haven't said how important exercise is. They've just said, yes, it is important. It doesn't answer the question. These little things, or these small things, are very crucial to answering, because this is what the examiner's listening for. He's listening to make sure that you comprehend the question, and your answer tells him or her that you do understand the question because you answer it correctly. So don't think that, oh, well, he will know what I mean, or she knows what you mean. No, they're testing your English for a specific purpose. So don't assume that they'll know what you mean. Answer it correctly. Okay, so for the questions here, I've focused on these. We know it's about learning a foreign language or speaking a foreign language, so we don't need that. That's the whole topic. Which part is easier, speaking or writing? So I've got to focus on these. I don't mention reading or listening because it's not included in the question. Students have been tempted, or test takers have been tempted, because they forget. They took, oh yeah, but reading is also, but it's not a part of what you're asked. And also you're comparing this one to this one. So use comparatives, talk about both, talk about one, whichever. You'll see some examples shortly. English, mainstream language in the future. They're the topic. They're the keywords, sorry. So focus on them. Benefits a foreign language can bring to one's career. So only talk about your job or your work, not your private life or traveling or other things. Unless the traveling is related to your work, then you can include it, but it has to be related to your work. Otherwise, it's off topic. Now, this is a yes no. Is learning a language important? So, this is a yes no question, but try not to answer yes no because the examiner will be looking for variety in your answer. Okay, I'm just going to go over a few points that I think are important. So longer answers are required in part 3, which should be approached as a discussion stroke conversation with the examiner. You should not treat it like a question and answer session and think that there are right or wrong answers. All the examiner wants is your opinion or take on certain things. How those things are done in your country, or if those things are done or not in your country. Anything you say on the topic is fine, as long as you express your views in a logical way with a good use of English and a focus on natural English. Remember, cramming your speaking full of high-level vocabulary is not the way to go. Many students are taught this for some strange reason. High-level vocabulary is not crammed into everyday conversation between native speakers. So why do you think you need to do it? This does not mean that you shouldn't do it, but too much high-level vocabulary will make you sound unnatural. So don't cram it full of words because they sound good. You are trying to sound natural. Although you do need to speak for a longer period of time, you do not need to be an expert in these topics. IELTS is not about being experts. It's about English and how you use it. So if you don't know much about a topic, express that. For example, I don't know too much about this topic. It's not something I've been exposed to. That's an answer because you're explaining yourself. That's what the examiner wants. He doesn't want you to be an expert. So here's our first question. So I'm not going to go through all of them and read all of them because it will take an eternity and I don't want these videos to be too long. Okay, let's just slightly move our camera there because we've blotted out that. Okay, so the first question, which part is easier, speaking or writing? Now, what I've done here is I've given you 4 answers which will give you the opportunity to expand your talk. It depends on, as soon as you say this, you've split your answer into 2 parts because you've got to talk about both sides. So the answer here I've written is, it depends on what you want to use the target language for. If you want to communicate with people when on holiday, then speaking is going to be much easier to learn because A, you use it instantly and repeatedly, and therefore you remember it more easily. B, it takes less time. And C, most communication we do is in the spoken form. I think writing is easier if you're learning to write documents, emails, or other forms of written communication, because writing can be thought out, planned, and corrected before the reader sees it. So it's all a matter of need. So this answer is basically saying both of them are okay. None of them are particularly easier. It depends what you want the language for. So that depends on is very important. You explain both sides. That automatically increases your answer. And I've given speaking. The second one is about speaking. So please read that. Stop the video and read these. As I said, I'm not going to go through all of them. We have writing and we have neither. So on the next page here, you can see the answer here is for writing. So I've expressed that very clearly at the beginning and I've said why. And then I've added some more information, which I think is relevant. Mhm. These answers reflect the speaker's opinion and beliefs about the topic. And as you can see, there are no right or wrong answers. So the last one, neither one, both have their good and bad aspects. So do you think English will be the mainstream language in the world in the future? And again, instead of saying yes or no, I've given different answers. They mean yes and no. This one, for example, I believe that it already is. Some people do believe that English is already the mainstream language in the world. Others would disagree. I'm just giving you my opinion. So again, read these. What benefits can foreign language bring to one's career? Remember, career. So I'm using working, yes. Um, Live and work. If you spoke Spanish, you could work in most of South America. So my answer is relating to work. And this one is also an asset to your company, foreign customers, company, visit your office, business. All of this vocabulary is towards career or work, which are basically the same thing. So make sure you answer it appropriately. As I said, look at the answers. And these are the final two. Again, they relate to careers. So do not tempted to go off. Do not be tempted, sorry, to go off topic, which is very easy. When you're talking about travel questions, it's very easy to go off topic. So what I've done here is I've talked about travel, but what I've done is I've finished it with, as a company employee, you would be the go-to person for overseas travel, and your company would have complete confidence in you being abroad, because I've explained a bit about the benefits of language when you travel, and then I finished it by talking about company. So yes, I've talked about travel, but I've tied it into work. And then the last one, again, you can always use yes or no, but you can express it. I would say yes, or I say no. It means I really disagree with this. This is what you're saying. So I say no, or I would say no. Both are more or less the same. So again, our answers are in green and our expansion is in red. So look at the expressions. I haven't put these in the legend, but again, I'll explain at the end of the video what I would like you to do to help. And again, here's the other answers. They're quite long. You can base your answers on these. Again, as I've said, these are yes, no questions, but I haven't used yes or no. Try to be more inventive than yes, no. Okay, this is the end of the lesson. So practice the answers, change the information to suit yourself. If you can't, then just use the answers that are there. If you get this question in the exam, then you can quite happily use these answers. Final piece of advice, as I mentioned before, try to adapt a conversation discussion mindset. When you're asked a question, give your opinion freely. Pretend that you're having a conversation with someone, and don't try to finish too quickly. In my experience, lots of students, they want to get the answers out of the way quickly, so they answer them just so they can stop talking. That's not the way to approach. Even part one, you should answer with confidence, and when you've finished saying what you have to say, then you stop. Don't try to rush through to the end and stop so you don't have to speak. That will be noticeable. Also, what I was going to say before earlier, I mentioned, was because this is the first video that we've made for part 3, I would like feedback on what you feel could be added to the videos, what could be removed from the videos. Are the videos useful? Is there anything that we can do to improve the videos? Any feedback that you can give. Feedback is important. Without the feedback, we don't know if you like these videos or if you don't like them. So your feedback tells us your likes, your dislikes, etc. Again, please subscribe to the channel. That will help us grow and hopefully do some live streaming soon. And visit our website, dumagetti.com or courses@dumagetti.com. We have developed some self-study online courses, which I am going to incorporate some of the videos from the YouTube channel. The videos that I've made, I'm going to incorporate them into the YouTube, into the courses channel. So as you study the units in the courses, you'll be able to watch the videos as well. So they're going to be integrated into the course. So hop over to that website, courses, www.courses.dumagetti.com, and have a look at the courses. There are 3 of them. There is a grammar awareness for IELTS. So it's basically a grammar course focused on the grammar that you will be using in the exam. There is a 10-hour IELTS course for those of you who are between 6.5 and 7 or in that region. And then there is a 20-hour course for those of you who are below that level. And again, as I said, there's a lot of information in those courses. They are self-study, but there are a lot of videos and exercises to accompany the course. There are quizzes at the end of each section, and you have to score a certain percentage for you to be able to continue. So it's also a bit of a challenge for you. Okay, so that's it for this video. And as I mentioned, please give us feedback. Feedback is so useful to us. And we will see you in the next video.